It's time for the Prophecy Pulse podcast, tuning in to heaven's end time signals with your host, Nick Johnston of Never Unprepared Ministries.
Well, we're at the next attack, the final trumpet attack. 1/3 of mankind killed by 200 million cavalry. This is section 20. The sixth trumpet unlocks 4 fallen angels that have been bound under the Euphrates River. We know these are fallen angels because God does not bind his heavenly angels. So 4 angels are freed, and these 4 newly unchained angels have some significance, but it's difficult to discuss because the attention soon turns to the 200 million horses and their riders. Verse 15 states that these angels were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. While they may use the 200 million horsemen to achieve this, the angels are demonic power behind their horsemen. So these angels are wielding their power.
That's right. And we're not told exactly how they do it. And he's only given 4. Now, we know there's a bunch of angels. We know there's some angels already chained up. We learn that in Jude, verse 6. But we also had the 1/3 of the angels that fell were cast out of heaven.
And that was many
angels, millions. Mm-hmm. And the presumption is they're locked up too, because they're not wreaking havoc on the earth after that. So they're locked up, chained up. So which of the 4 that he's allowed to release, all we know about them is they're the ones that are under the Euphrates River and released. But they are fallen angels, whether they fell a long time ago or whether they fell in that recent war. And they're going to have some kind of power, and he is allowed to have 4 of them. So we don't know exactly what they're going to do. But to kill 1/3 of the earth, you're going to need some power. 200 million
horses and horsemen, and these are not normal horses.
These have some bizarre traits. So these are like...
Heads are like lions, and tails are like biting snakes.
That's right. They're definitely...
horrific.
They're definitely like hybridized somehow. And they spit fire. They breathe fire.
You also talk about this freakish cavalry will use some fantastic weaponry to kill 1/3 of mankind. John and Joel both describe their method of destruction as flame and fire.
And what horse has flame and fire?
Right.
Yeah, it says in one place, before them is like the Garden of Eden, green and lush, and behind them is just scorched earth. They're burning and destroying totally everything around them. Can you imagine 200 million? Well, it's hard to even imagine 200 million. But that's the destruction they can cause is amazing. But they're amassed to keep Jesus from returning to Mount Zion, and so they're going to do everything they can to keep that from happening.
This 6th trumpet leads to the 6th bowl countermeasure. This is 20.1. The Euphrates dries up, essentially becomes a road.
And you think, well, that's not that significant. It's just in response to these 200 million horsemen and 4 angels, or 4 fallen angels showing up. All that the 2 witnesses are able to muster is to dry up the Euphrates. It seems like a small little thing, but the Euphrates is a major source of fresh water in an otherwise desert area. And you dry that up, and how do you water these horses? These horse things. How do you water these people? And not to mention the people that actually live in those areas that are fed by the Euphrates River. There's, all the way from like Syria all the way down.
Well, also the fact that the river is no longer a barrier.
That's right.
A physical barrier to access of
it's always been a natural barrier, and now it's no longer a barrier. And then soon we're told in Daniel, he gets news from the east and north that alarm him. Well, if you look where the Euphrates is, it's to the east of Israel, and no, it's actually to the east of Israel. So something is trying to cross that. Something's coming across, and he's alarmed. In fact, the Euphrates, if I recall, does turn a little bit, so even north could be crabbing across the Euphrates. And we don't know, people think, well, what countries are to the east or what countries are to the north? In today's weaponry and warfare, you don't need to be from the east to be coming from the east.
Right.
You could be landing over there. You could be, assembling your forces, and you could be coming from the other side. But they've landed and assembled their troops, they're coming from the east and from the north. So they could be countries from anywhere.
Well, you mentioned that the Antichrist is alarmed. He recognizes that this now dry riverbed is acting like a road, giving his enemies easy access. And all these troops need water to drink. And you mentioned, while we don't know the exact location of New Babylon, it's likely that it'll be on the site of the original Tower of Babel. Most think the infamous tower was in Mesopotamia on the banks of the Euphrates. If so, the loss of water from that river could be a real problem.
It could be reaching the headquarters of this whole thing has now got no water.
And that brings us to the Battle of Har-Mageddon. Did I pronounce that right?
That's right.
Armageddon. Antichrist versus whom? It's impossible to know how many people have been killed up to this point by the preceding wars, famines, trumpets, bowls, and beheadings. A reasonable guess is at least half of humanity has been wiped out. That's staggering.
Yeah, if you consider we start with 8 billion as of today, who knows how many we'll have at the time it starts, but if you consider 8 billion, that's 3 to 4 billion have been killed, maybe more.
But now, again, God is limiting Satan to kill 1/3 of those remaining.
So there's a limit of 1/3 again.
Yeah. I found it interesting in the subnotes you talk about, most people assume the battle will take place in the valley of Megiddo, known as Armageddon. But you draw a different conclusion.
Yeah, and I get this from, when I was trying to figure out why they would be 60 miles out when their goal is to stop Jesus from landing on Mount Zion. I had read a book by Michael Heiser, the late Michael Heiser, was a linguist, great scholar. He said that this was a mistranslation that started in the Vulgate and was carried on by all the translators. That it actually is Har, a mountain, and Armageddon is just a little tell. In other words, a little lump of a former city
In a valley.
In a valley, and that's not what he's talking about here. And the implication was it's the mountain of God. And I said, that makes so much more sense, because that's where, why would you assemble forces 60 miles from where you actually need them?
Right.
Because that's where Armageddon is, 60 miles out, from what I understand. And if you need them on that mountain, why not assemble them right at that mountain or right around it? And in fact, on that mountain is where the Antichrist is going to set his tent, right there. So why would he set his tent 60 miles away? So it makes more sense. Everybody's been told that Armageddon is where the battle's going to be. In fact, they quote Napoleon that this is a great place for a great battle. But it doesn't make sense in the location it is.
That brings us to the witness's role. So as part of the witness's mission is to carry on the role that the Archangel Michael performed for Israel while he was before he was recalled to heaven. They protect the portion of Jerusalem, that has not been given over to the Gentiles for the duration of the Great Tribulation. And then we talk about the Antichrist still has two opponents in mind. He may invade or destroy the countries that have rejected his leadership. He also has a secret mission. And we'll talk about that secret mission now. The secret mission is to try and attack the 144,000.
He is the fifth trumpet, I think, when he didn't have the success he needed in that 5 months of getting more people to take the mark. He's losing. He realizes he's losing this contest, this vital second half of the contest. Jesus won the first half, remember. That's why he's dispensing of the seals. So he realizes he's desperate, and he's got to do something, and he's always a deceiver. So he's using these 200 million and their forays into different countries and and whatever they're doing as a deceptive cover for the real operation, which is trying to find where those 144,000 have been hidden and destroy them. And he gets really close.
Or destroy, I found this interesting, at least one of the tribes.
That's right, because he's made his promise to the 12 tribes. So if he can take even one of the tribes completely and eradicate them, well, you didn't really keep your promise. And so you can't take my kingdom. That's what he's trying to keep happening, is he's trying to maintain his kingdom.
The 3.5-year clock has ticked down to just weeks or even days remaining. Satan has come to terms with the fact that he can no longer win, and a loss, which means being chained for 1,000 years in a pit of hell, is unthinkable. So how will he force a stalemate? And that's exactly what he's after. His logic is simple. If he could exterminate even one entire tribe, especially Judah, the tribe of Judah, the tribe which King David sprang, it would mean that God had not kept his covenant, and therefore would not be in a position to open the 7-sealed book, thus postponing the final countdown.
Right. And
but now it's the witnesses who stand in his way. The witnesses continue to harass the Antichrist, publicly exposing his weaknesses and countering each of his trumpet powers with their own devastating plagues. To succeed, he must find a way to eliminate them. That brings us to section 20.3a. The Antichrist kills his archenemies. Finally, those 2 old men are dead.
Yeah, so they can't be killed. We were told they can't be killed until their testimony is complete. But they're killed. So their testimony is complete at some point. If you subscribe to what I've determined here, that they control the first 6 bowls. And once the 6th bowl is poured out, which is the drying up of the Euphrates, then their testimony is complete. And so they can be, that at this point they can be killed, and they are, because up to that point they call down fire on anybody that tried to kill them.
So when Satan attempts to kill the 2 witnesses this time, he succeeds easily. The fact that the witnesses had been a torment and were killable at this precise moment strongly supports your trumpet bowl countermeasure theory. As you explained previously, the trumpet in the 7th bowl, the 7th trumpet in the 7th bowl are the Lord's control, whereas the first 6 trumpets were under Satan's control. Now, Christians familiar with end times prophecies will know that the witnesses were only able to be killed because they had finished their testimony. Those knowledgeable Christians will also know this means the 7th trumpet, their blessed hope, can't be too far away.
That's right.
This is interesting. The Satan or the Antichrist won't be allowed to parade the dead bodies of the 2 witnesses. This means God must be supernaturally protecting their corpses from desecration. We know that after 3.5 days of lying dead in the street, God very publicly resurrects them, and a loud voice from heaven with loud indicating that the voice will be unmistakably heard by the entire world, commands them, come up here.
And wouldn't you think that the Antichrist, knowing these prophecies, would have tried to hide those bodies, get rid of those bodies, shred the evidence, but he's not allowed to, because they're going to lay there in the street untouched, and people are going to be giving gifts to each other. They're going to be so excited about these. This means they know these are the people behind these bold judgments. So they're going to be excited about this and be happy, trading gifts. And in the midst of that celebration of the 3.5 day point, a voice that they can hear is going to say, "Come up here."
Wow.
And they're going to rise. So they hadn't been taken away. They haven't been buried somewhere.
Yes.
They've been left to sit. And I think that's God's hand saying, I'm proving my point here, that you killed them, but they're going to be here in full front of everybody, full view of everybody. And they were terrified, it says in Revelation 11. Once they saw that, they were terrified and gave glory. Well, this was at the same time. Agreed?
Yeah. The next section, 20.3, talks about Blast those hidden Jews with the two witnesses dead and out of his way. The Antichrist is free to unleash a level of destruction never before attempted by anyone. He will bomb every known enclave of survivors who refuse the mark and will work to kill everyone without it. But this will merely serve as cover for his true mission, to search for and destroy God's hidden, protected Jews. By this point, through the process of elimination and with the aid of his crafty counsel, demonic
That's right.
powers, he has narrowed down the area where he believes they're hiding. This is where it talks about using a new weapon. And you think it's a weapon using water?
Yeah, I think it's water because he mentions in Revelation 12 that the earth, it says in Revelation 12:15, the serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman, which is another name for the 144,000 Jews, to sweep her away with a flood. But the earth came to the help of the woman. The earth came to the help of the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from his mouth. So I think he's using some kind of a fracking device or something like that. It does deal
to try and flood
he figures
the hiding area.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and this is just his modus operandi for forever, since he's become king, is Satan has always tried to destroy the Jews, because who did God give his promise to? Is the Jews. One day I will be your God and you will be my people. It hasn't happened yet. He hasn't served them. He hasn't served under Jesus. So it's going to happen in the future, and he knows if he can get rid of those people, then God can't keep that promise. This is his last attempt. They've got the mark. The problem is, for him, they've got the mark of God.
They are protected.
They are protected, and this shows the earth is saying, "I'm enforcing God's mark. You're trying to destroy these. I, the earth, I'm going to enforce God's mark against you, Satan. I don't care what you throw at these. I'm protecting them." So creation is rising up to serve God in this case.
That brings us to chapter 21, the sound of the seven thunders. The infallible court makes its ruling. So the Revelation 10, 1 through 4, talks about a mighty angel coming down from heaven, wrapped with a rainbow over his head. His face was shone like the sun, and his legs were like pillars of fire. When he called out, seven thunders sounded, and the mighty giant angel, you write, raised his right hand, pointed to heaven, and said, "By the authority of God, there would be no more delay." The seven thunders continue speaking, but we don't know what they say because John is stopped from writing it down. So it was revealed to John, but he was told not to write it.
And this is always a mystery, and it's a mystery where it happens in the middle of Revelation 10, and we don't know what they say. But seven thunders are sounding, and whatever they're sounding is being relayed by this giant angel. The giant angel is so big, he's got 1 foot on the land and 1 foot on the sea, which means he represents, and he's got a rainbow over his head.
Yes.
So he's a representative of God, this giant angel is. And he's conveying what the seven thunders have just sounded out in heaven. So they've made a determination, a proclamation. Seven, it sounds like they're the seven spirits that everybody acknowledges are the judges. Heaven and earth, those in heaven, those on earth and under the earth must acknowledge that these are the judges. And they've made a decree, they've made a judgment. And I think I put it here because I think they called the foul on, wait a minute, you tried to go
After the protected.
You
people,
know that was
yes.
the mark of God. The earth told on you. The earth stopped it, and God we saw that. This is a foul. You've lost.
You make the point that it's a supernaturally enforced timeout that goes into effect for those fighting. These seven thunders declare that the criteria established by the seven sealed book have been met, and they call for the contest in favor of Jesus.
And I get that you can be together with this and Daniel 7:25. when it talks about he being the Antichrist, will speak words against the Most High and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. This is the Great Tribulation. And shall think to change the times in the law, and they shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and half a time. We know that's 3.5 years.
That's right.
He's got authority there. They've been given into his hand for 3.5 years. But the court shall sit in judgment. I believe that court of those 7 thunders. And his dominion shall be taken away. So they're going to say, look, you've lost. You've lost your kingdom. But to be consumed and destroyed to the end. But what we find out is it's not an instantaneous judgment, and the punishment is not instant. There's days, D-A-Y-S, between that judgment and the punishment, because it says.
And the punishment is Jesus' arrival.
That's right.
There's days. There's a gap of a few days. Yeah.
It says, but in the days of the trumpet call to be sounded by the 7th angel, the mystery of God shall be fulfilled. So this means there are days yet to come between the judgment and the repercussions of that judgment. And he's going to do something else in those days, in his desperation.
That brings us to 21.1, Satan's final move.
That's right.
Through chapter 12, in Revelation comes 2 chapters after the 7 thunders, declare Jesus the victor. It's further evidence that John's writing pattern is not linear. Every intricate plan Satan has laid collapsed in utter failure. His long schemed plan to rally an angelic uprising in heaven backfired so disastrously that instead of ascending to heaven, he lost access to it entirely. His secretive plot to eliminate the 144,000 Jews was thwarted when the earth itself rose up against him, diverting the deadly flood meant to destroy them. And now the 7 thunders have pronounced his defeat in the second half of the cosmic contest laid out in the 7th sealed book. With 1,000 years of plotting and preparation unraveling to nothing, Satan sees the writing on the wall and switches to instinctive survival mode, gripped by the realization that he has at most a couple of days before the 7th seal trumpet sounds and God's angels arrive to chain him. And he's furious.
Yeah.
So now his only option, as he sees it, is very radical. It's to destroy the earth entirely, which would take out 144,000 Jews.
Yeah, he's desperate. He knows he's lost the battle. He's lost the contest. It's been declared by the 7 trumpets. And there's only a few days, we don't know how many, a few days between when that pronouncement was made and when he's going to lose the kingdom. And in those few days, he's going to desperately pull out all the stops, and that is, let's destroy the whole earth. We'll destroy those 144,000 Jews. God has to start over. I'm still king.
So he convinces those rulers in power throughout the world that they should direct their weapons at a fault line.
That's right.
They don't know in concert that everyone else is doing it, but he convinces each of them, this is what I need you to do.
I think he convinces them through these demonic spirits that come out of the mouth. We see them come out of John sees them, and we'll see them come out of the mouth of the Antichrist, the false prophet. They're going out to the kings of the earth to convince them to point each of them independently of the other, to point their weapons of mass destruction at this one spot, probably the Mount of Olives, we don't know. And they're all going to do it simultaneously to destroy the earth or the atmosphere or something. And we know that they're trying to destroy it because we see in Revelation 11:18, when he's talking about judgment, the nations raged. This is part of the battle of Armageddon. But your wrath came, and the time for the dead to be judged, and for rewarding your servants, the prophets and saints, and those who fear your name, both small and great, and for destroying the destroyers of the earth. Somebody was trying to destroy the earth. Somebody associated with this battle of Armageddon was not just trying to do the battle, it was trying to destroy the earth. And they're being judged for being those people, those commanders who tried to destroy the earth. So we know that happens, and this is the place it happens. This is the time frame. When you put it into place, it's after the 7 thunders make their pronouncement. Before Jesus returns, they try to destroy the earth as a last-ditch effort.
And you're right. But just when it seems all hope is lost, that Satan's plans have succeeded and the earth is mere seconds from being destroyed, something extraordinary happens, and every eye will see it. God himself steps in.
And this is one that, when you think about this sixth seal, most people think it's destructive. It's got a great earthquake, and people are asking for rocks to fall on them, and it's destructive. But when you put it in the sequence that it's supposed to be, I believe, it's beautiful. It's God showing up in all creation, bowing, and the only ways they can bow to acknowledge his presence. They've been waiting and pining for this day. They've been groaning for creation to be brought back to perfection. This is the first step. And the destroyers of the earth, when it says the stars fell from the sky, we know stars are too big to fall from the sky. They're bigger than our sun. But I think the stars falling from the sky are the missiles or whatever it is that the destroyers of the earth are trying to destroy the earth. He shows up and everything just drops inert. Nothing can harm, and he's not going to tolerate anything in the sky when he's showing up. And when he shows up, creation bows, like the sun turns dark. It's like, I'm not going to show any light in the presence of God, who is light. I can't hold a candle to him, so to speak. And the moon turns red, so the sky is dark. Everything, all the satellites, missiles, everything's falling to the ground. And then the mountains are bowing, the trees are bowing, the animals are bowing. The earth is shaking to make sure that these obstinate people trying to fight in Battle of Armageddon are forced to their hands and knees. That's the great earthquake. It's moving so much you can't stand in defiance of God. You are forced. The earth is going to force compliance, just like it forced it stopped the water from destroying the Jews. This is going to be an awestruck thing, and we know it's God showing up because it says the sky rolls back like a scroll, and although they don't describe God, the men, the rich and powerful and everyone, hid themselves in caves among the rocks, and it says, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne." The implication is they can see him. The throne and him who is seated, and they know what's coming next. What's coming next is the wrath of God. So hide us from the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? They can't stand because the earth is making them sit, but they know the wrath is about to come. But we were told about this in the Olivet Discourse, where Jesus says there's, the sun and the moon you'll see different things about them. But then at the Luke's account tells us, when you see these things, look up. Everybody else is trying to hide. You look up because your redemption is drawing near. Your home run is about to happen here.
Yes.
It's just inspiring when you think about how this plays out. And we've got songs that I talk about. One of the songs that describes this of all creation. If it could articulate, if it could voice, that even the mountains would sing. And they're going to sing because they've been waiting for this day, and it's about to happen. And of course, we'll see this sixth seal, and then it's going to be followed. Everything stops. All the fighting stops. There's nothing they can do. The earth is moving back and forth, and then it stops suddenly with the seventh seal. The seventh seal is 30 minutes of silence, and they'll be forced after this. They saw God. They see God. 30 minutes of silence in His presence, where you can't look at Him, and you're going to be shaking in your boots as long as that doesn't make any noise, because for silence, and knowing that, oh my gosh, what have I done? What have I done? Except for Christians, are going to say, our redemption is close. It's here. Here's God. It's just amazing. And then the seventh trumpet sounds. Everybody's going to be able to hear that seventh trumpet because you've had 30 minutes of complete and utter silence. You'll be listening. Your ears will be trying to magnify any kind of sound. And when that sounds, it's going to be so glorious for us to have the Jesus announced King of the world. But to those who were on the wrong side, that 30 minutes of silence, they realize they're on the wrong side, and that trumpet sounds, and they know they're in for it. So I know we're going to stop here, but we'll take it up next time. But this is, to me, the sixth. When you put it in the sequence, the sixth seal is so exciting. It's the first stage to bringing creation back to what it was originally. And the earth all creation has been groaning for that time. They remember it. And it's just, to me, it's just a magnificent time.
It is.
Yeah. Well, thanks, George.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. We'll pick it up again next time.
Yeah.